It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, July 5th. So today we have the moon moving out of Virgo energy into Libra energy. Very interesting that we have this particular transitioning happening with the moon, with our emotions, with our intuition on one of the largest astrological days that we've had in a very, very long time. So, rundown. Yesterday, if you tuned in, you would know that this was a perfect setup yesterday with energies to prepare us for what is taking place today. There are 14 different aspects taking place today, the largest astro day that we've had in a super freaking long time. 10 of them involve the moon. So we have Mars and Mercury moving out of their places of power, moving into brand new energies within 20 minutes of one another. Very unheard of. We also have a huge particular aspect taking place because of the experiments going on with CERN. So if you haven't been listening to me for the past, I'm going to say 2 weeks, check out the ascension forecast for both this past week and the week before. I went on a little bit of a rant. Even yesterday's energy forecast, July 4th, I went on a little bit of a rant. We have to stay positive. We have to envision the highest timeline possible. That is the name of the game. So the reason why I think that today is super interesting to have the moon transiting out of Virgo energy and into Libra energy is because Libra energy is all about balancing the scales. It's all about finding a new grounding point. It's all about peace and harmony, compromise, cooperation. But of course, we tend to only find those things by living in extremes. Now, the moon in Virgo for the last couple of days has really helped us to create order, especially emotionally and mentally, where it is that we've been having a little bit of chaos. The fact that Mercury rules over Virgo energy. Mercury was in its place of power in Gemini, moving into Cancer here today. Huge indicating factor of our inner narratives, of our focus, of our attention, and of course, that is very important with what's going on with the Large Hadron Collider over there in Geneva. Again, this is a concerning matter, and we have to use our discernment on what it is that we need to focus on. Keeping the vibe high, keeping the attention, the focus, the perspective, high vibe. So, the moon is going to be moving out of Virgo energy around 2:04 p.m., going void, of course, until 6:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, at which time it will be locking into Libran energy. With 14 different aspects here today, again, one of the busiest astro days that we've had in God knows how long, we have to expect that this is going to feel wonky as F, okay? Like, seriously, emotionally, mentally, probably physically too, because of the amount of electricity going on in the cosmos right now. We have to expect that this is going to feel very, very strange. Again, if you haven't listened to this week's Ascension forecast about the physical ailments and symptoms that we will be experiencing because of the high velocity of energy coming in, please do so. Get prepared so that you don't freak out and end up in a fear state. And of course, play in exactly to the Dark Force agenda's plan. We want to avoid those lower emotions of feeling cray-cray, feeling scared, feeling fear, feeling negative emotions and thoughts. This is about the highest vibe possible so that we can overwrite their script, overwrite their system. 10 of these aspects of the 14 involve the moon, but of course, we have half of the day still with the moon in Virgo. We have the moon trining the true node. This is a beautiful time. This is a beautiful energy. The moon in Virgo has analyzed our emotional state, our unconscious selves, has reorganized and restructured our understanding and perception about our thoughts, about our emotions, about what it is that we want, need, and desire. A trine is a blending of energies with the true node, which is our soul's destiny's path. It's the path that we need to be on for our soul's highest potential and evolution to actually manifest. Now, this is suggesting that we have a plan, we have a strategy, we know the next steps forward. We might not have the full plan down because, of course, we can only get to certain markers. We have free will and variables coming at us all the time that makes us have to adapt our plan. But for the most part, we are gaining perspective. We are gaining clarity. And because of this, we're able to actually strategize the next steps forward. Now, 2:04 a.m., we have Mars moving out of Aries and into Taurus energy. If you have not listened to the astro forecast that I put out for this, please go ahead and do so. I will just say to you, we are moving into a beautiful time of creation. It is going to be very exhausting. It is going to require a little bit of hard work and determination. But for all of us sitting around praying for new change, praying for all of this, new vision, new dream, now is the time that we're going to start seeing the actual foundation manifest for us to actually be validated that, you know what, this isn't just a hope, this isn't just a dream, this isn't wishful thinking, we're actually bringing things to life. So this is at 2:04 a.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. 20 minutes later, we have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication, the messenger of the gods, stepping down from his throne in Gemini energy and moving into Cancer. This is amazing that this is happening so close together on today, which is an amazing day, on the Sirius gateway portal, which, from like the 3rd to the 7th, we're in a high alignment with our spiritual sun, downloading new light codes. This is an amazing aspect. I need you guys to check out the astro forecast for this particular event too, so that you understand what we're dealing with, so that you understand the pros and cons of it, so that you understand how to use this energy to your advantage. The fact that this is happening 20 minutes within each other is absolutely fascinating. And then less than 10 minutes after Mercury moves into Cancer, Mercury sextiles Mars. Okay, I'm pausing for a semi-dramatic effect here. This is awesome. Why is it awesome? Because a sextile is a beautiful energy. It's a harmonizing energy. We have the ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication. We have the messenger of the gods and the god of war ruling over our physical energy, our passion, our desires, blending their energies together. So what happens when these two get together and they work together? What we have is a boost in our motivation, a boost in our enthusiasm, new inspiration. We have a want, need, and desire, a passion and impulse for our ideas to come to life. This is a beautiful thing. Now we are more alert, more focused, more observant. We need to be, especially with the stuff going on in the world today. We have a new level of aha moments, of understanding, of perspectives coming through. This is a fresh energy. Our minds are very busy. We are physically wanting, needing, desiring new things, especially where our physical circumstances are concerned. We want to build something that is long lasting, that's going to bring us safety, security, stability, happiness, joy. We want to focus on the resources. This particular aspect is literally pushing us into a brand new timeline, regardless of whether we had this little semi-experiment going on in the world, okay? This is a beautiful thing. I cannot emphasize that enough. So we have all of this really setting the stage for the day. Then we have the moon, still very much in Virgo energy, bumping into Mars in a positive aspect. This means that, yes, our ideas are fresh, our motivation is up, we're inspired, we have passion, we have desire, we have a purpose, we have meaning, we want to bring things to life. And emotionally speaking, we are on the right track. We have processed information, situations, and scenarios. We have aligned with what feels best for us. We have really examined our inner dialogue, our inner narrative, and we have chosen the highest road possible of passion, desire, inspiration, and motivation. This is a beautiful thing. Then the moon goes ahead and bumps into Saturn in a way that would suggest that this is a little bit of a learning opportunity for us to actually put forth whether or not we can walk the walk or talk the talk. Now, what does this mean? Well, first of all, Saturn is the Lord of karma. He is retrograde, making us review the past, let's say 12 months, the tough love life lessons that we've had to go through, whether or not we rose to the occasion or whether or not we failed to rise to the occasion, and whether or not we're going to have those tough love life situations put the squeeze on us for us to actually integrate the wisdom that we need to pluck out of these tough love life lessons to prep us and prepare us for the next role and responsibility that we're about to take on, karmically speaking. So the situation between the moon and Saturn right now is kind of suggesting that we had this, high vibe energy. We had this vibrant motivation and inspiration take over, and now we're looking to ground it out. Now, here's the thing. Typically speaking, Saturn can bring that negative Nancy narrative. It can kind of humble us and bring a pretty somber tone. The Virgo energy can be a little bit worrisome, a little bit jittery. We want to avoid this because, of course, we have to stay in the highest vibration and frequency possible here today. So what I would suggest may happen is an external situation divinely scripted in order for us to pop off and to fall victim into past patterns and behaviors where we're not learning the lesson, where we are obviously reacting and responding in a way that our ego was conditioned to do, and would show ourselves in the universe that, guess what? We, spiritually speaking, we didn't learn F all, right? We had the opportunity to put forth the wisdom that we should have plucked out of previous situations to implement at this time, and we didn't. Right? Many of us are going to fail this test. Let me tell you, with the energies popping off today, we definitely do not have the majority of the collective passing this test here today. But what I will say is that we have the opportunity to pass this test if you can keep yourself in check. If you can recognize when the energy shifts to a lower vibration and frequency, especially emotionally speaking, when you feel the weight of the world kind of crash down on your chest or on your shoulders, when you get angry and frustrated about the roles and responsibilities, the restrictions, the blockages, the challenges that you currently have, and you allow yourself to embody that quality and characteristic of the lower vibrations and frequencies. We don't want to do that, especially here today. We have to do everything we can to be mindful to override this storyline, to override this energy. What would be the best thing is that we recognize that this is happening and we create a more positive and encouraging narrative in our mind space to say, you know what? I know what's happening. I know I'm triggered. I know I'm activated. Yes, I do see the resemblance from past situations into this situation here. In the past, I would have acted out. I would have said this. I would have responded this way. So today I'm going to choose to do the opposite, right? May not feel good, may not feel, happy-go-lucky, motivated and inspired, but we have the awareness, and that's all we're looking for, is to prove to ourselves in the universe that we have the awareness to check out of ego in times that are pressurized, and we have the awareness to act as our higher selves to see where it is that we can build something new. So hopefully we all pass that situation, but like I said, majority of us will fall victim to the negative narrative, to the anger and frustration, to get frustrated with the restrictions where we feel held back in life, and to kind of sit in the funk, so to speak. We do have the moon sitting across from, opposing Neptune, who is retrograde in Pisces. So Virgo energy sits across from Pisces energy. Virgo energy is about the physical realm, our health and wellness here in the physical realm, basically our daily tasks, our daily chores, the mental narrative that we have to have in order to stay as positive and healthy as possible in the physical realm. And of course, the Pisces energy is emotional. It is intuitive. It is more of the higher self, the soul. It has no boundaries. It has no guidelines. We're focused on our spiritual soul health, our karmic health, if you will, in the Piscean energy. So where Virgo energy likes to focus in on the details of the here and now, the Piscean energy misses all the details. We look at the big picture of what is possible. So there is a little bit of a conflict there. Opposing aspects do create a little bit of conflict. And here's what I will say. Because Neptune is retrograde, we are essentially looking at life from a different set of eyes because the rose-colored glasses have been slapped off of our face. That's already putting us at a disadvantage. What I will say is that the moon in Virgo wants us to concentrate on the here and now. Neptune, being retrograde, needs us to reflect back on where it is that we have ran from our daily lives, our daily tasks, our daily chores, where we have tried to avoid or escape the roles and responsibilities of our life, our tasks, our chores, our health and wellness, our negative narratives, where it is that we have lost ourselves in imaginary land with too much wishful thinking and not enough action, not enough work possible in the here and now. We also have to understand that we're going to be super overwhelmed and hypersensitive here today because of all these energies. And the moon typically, regardless of what sign it's in, when the moon opposes Neptune, we get a little bit evasive. We get little bit wish-washy, hypersensitive, highly emotional. We don't know what energy is ours and what belongs to other people. And because of that, we just want to check out and disassociate from life altogether. Wouldn't be a good thing to do here today. I'm just going to tell you, that might be the want, need, and desire. That might be the automatic impulse for us to just, run away and curl up in bed until today is over. That's not what is going to help us create new earth and new realities for ourselves. We have to stay present in the moment, regardless of how uncomfortable it may be, and constantly project ourselves into a vision, into a dream of our futuristic realms to inspire us, make us happy, make us emotional enough to keep the vibration high so that we can anchor it into the physical realm here and now. That's how we alchemize. That's how we manifest. That's how we override the system and the storyline. So we have the moon bumping into the sun in a very positive way, which is going to suggest that we get a grip, okay? We get a grip on what needs to be done. We get a grip on our emotions. We get a grip on our intuition. We get a grip on where it is that we're feeling shaky and unstable and insecure. And we analyze that. Why do we feel this way? What created it? What triggered it? Where's the activator? So that we can analyze it and get to the root problem. This Virgo energy always comes up with solutions to our problems, but we have to be aware and we have to sit in our awareness in order to identify the issues and the problems for us to solve. This is a good energy for us to become a little bit more aware of the here and now, emotionally and intuitively speaking, where it is that we have to create a different vibe in order for a new foundation to be built. And it's very suggestive that we are going to do so because at 2:03 p.m., right before the moon goes void of course, we have the moon in Virgo trining, beautiful energy with Pluto, the great transformer. This suggests that there was an aha moment, there was a shift, there was an inspiration, a motivation that came from a not so nice thought, emotion, perspective. We have a huge indication with the Virgo energy that we are analyzing the not so nice parts, which of course Pluto likes to illuminate, the darker parts, the pain, the suffering, the shadow, in order to inspire us, to motivate us, to boss us up, to push us out of victimhood and poor me and woe is me into a place of power. We can turn that darkness into light, or we can turn that pain into a source of power. And it suggests here, with these aspects taking place on the day in which is a very special day to us, that we are overriding a lot of our own inner dialogues, a lot of our own pain and suffering. And that is a beautiful thing. A huge transformation taking place in our psyche first, because that's what Pluto does a deep dive in. Our emotions second, because of course, when we have a different perspective and perception and understanding of why certain bad things had to happen, it changes the way that we feel about them. And it empowers us. It puts us in a position of power and control over our own emotions. And that is a beautiful thing. So the moon goes void, of course, right? Things get shaky from like 2:04 to 6:26 when we actually enter into Libran energy. When we move into Libran energy, things are going to feel lighter. They're going to be a little bit buzzier. We're going to be more in our heads. We are definitely going to see the extremes in our life, especially mentally and emotionally, in order for us to start working on how to achieve peace, harmony, and balance. That's the goal by the time we get out of the moon being in Libran energy. Now, the first aspect that the moon in Libra actually makes is at 7:21 p.m., and it is with Saturn. Lucky for us, it's a positive aspect. So what this means is that we're taking on a brand new perspective, a brand new narrative on the roles and responsibilities that essentially are weighing very heavily on us, the commitments that are weighing heavily on us. Saturn, again, the Lord of Karma, who rules over systems, foundations, where roles and responsibilities are concerned. Of course, we are retrograde here, which means that there's an inner working, an inner reorganization that needs to be done. And because the moon in Libra is more apt to be kind-hearted and stay in the shallow end and try to compromise and look at the light and fluffy version of some of the heavier topics and themes that are coming up, it does suggest that we are shifting our perspective. We are lightening up the vibe. We are taking on a brand new narrative, a brand new perspective, a brand new understanding of how we can kind of, I guess, continue on honoring our word, our commitment, the roles and responsibilities that we wish we didn't have in a way that doesn't suck the entire life out of us. And of course, we're doing so while we're buying time, being able to build the bridge that we need to build to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. Now, the moon is going to go ahead and bump into Mars. Now, let me just say, Mars, fresh in Taurus energy. Taurus energy and Libran energy have something very special in common. It is ruled over by Venus, the feminine divine energy, the goddess, if you will. Mars, as we know, is the divine masculine energy. And this particular interaction, I would say, is going to come from an outside trigger and activation that is trying to anger us, frustrate us. Now, let me just say, please, please, please go ahead and listen to Mars entering into Taurus, that astro forecast, so that you understand the pros and cons and how they can manifest. But basically, again, with the moon in Libra, yes, our goal is to find peace and balance and harmony and a new grounding point, but we do find that through experiencing the extremes. The extremes right now are that we're a little bit fixed, a little bit slow, a little bit heavy, a little bit too kind of tunnel visioned. And this is really going to manifest in a little bit of frustration. Again, the moon in Libra wants to lighten the vibe, and Mars being fresh into Taurus is very slow, low, heavy, and weighted. Not necessarily in a negative sense, but it can feel pretty negative when the moon in Libra just wants to lighten the vibe and keep things light and fluffy and playful. And Mars has a mission to do. We don't have time to be light and fluffy and playful. We have shit to do. There's a list. We have to get to work. We don't know where to start, but we know that we have an intense pressure on us to start being a little bit more actively productive in our own realities if we want the kind of outcome that we want, need, and desire. So Venus goes ahead and then semi-squares, which is a little bit of a tension, with Mars. So we have the feminine divine, the masculine divine going at it in a way because Venus is over here in Gemini trying to debate one thing over the other, one choice, one decision, one path over the other. Mars is over here in Taurus with the blinders on. He's already kind of made his decision on how he's going to actively pursue the next step in the path, so to speak, in order to bring certain elements to life. And you got Venus over here now confused about what she wants, needs, and desires because there's too many options. There's too many choices. There's too many paths. There's too many opportunities. And again, go listen to Venus in Gemini's astro forecast to understand the pros and cons. But basically, we went from being so confined into what it is that we knew to be true into this Gemini energy that opened up our minds to explore different paths, different choices, different options. And we've explored so many, our minds are so overwhelmed with what it is that we want, need, and desire emotionally that now we have to kind of focus in a little bit better. And of course, when Venus goes ahead and moves into Cancer energy, we will definitely have a little bit more focus on what we want, need, and desire. So this creates a little bit of tension because, like I said, we don't have a whole hell of a lot of direction coming from Venus being in Gemini, but we have a whole lot of focus with Mars being in Taurus. We just don't know where to start. The moon is going to square Mercury. This puts our heart and head at odds with one another, creating a little bit of conflict in our inner realm. The moon in Libra wants love, peace, harmony, joy, happiness, pleasure. Mercury, of course, fresh into Cancer, we need a little bit of time to adapt to this here, is a little bit hypersensitive, is looking at things from a deeper, more intimate level. And of course, Libran energy wants to stay in the shallow end. Cancer energy wants to do nothing but sit in the depths of the deep end. And, you know, our heart and our head needs to be on the same page before we go ahead and take action. And right now, the moon in Libra is very kind of, I guess, playful in its approach, while Mercury being in Cancer is way more serious. We're dealing with some serious emotions here. And we have to have heart-to-hearts. We have to express ourselves fully. We have to process old energy and emotions and memories. And the moon in Libra really just doesn't want to do that, wants to keep everything light and playful and fluffy. So this is why we're going to have a little bit of a conflict between our heart and our head. We wrap this very active astrology day off with the moon bumping into Uranus, and it's not in the nicest way. So let me say this. When Uranian energy is activated in a negative way, it tends to create chaos. Now, normally, the Uranian energy in a positive aspect is the Great Awakener. It shows us where we need to, fight for freedom and be a little bit more independent and open up our minds and, adopt a new perspective, adopt a new way of doing things. And where Uranus is in Taurus, we're very focused on our physical circumstances, where our daily routines and tasks and relationships and money matters and resources are concerned. And the conflict that we're having here is that, first of all, the moon in Libra needs to experience the extremes in order to find middle ground. And the Uranian energy is turning on the extremes emotionally in our physical realm in order for the moon in Libra to fully submerge herself into those emotions in order to find common ground, stability, peace, and harmony. So what we know to be true is that when chaos ensues, clarity is just around the corner. And what we know to be true is that the Uranian energy coming from a negative aspect is very cold, very rigid, very rebellious, and not sitting so light and fluffy with our emotional selves as of right now. What we also know to be true is today was a very, very high potent energetic day. It was a very hard day to navigate. And all I can say is that this particular day is setting the stage for some very powerful changes, very powerful breakthroughs. And this last aspect between the moon and Uranus is definitely going to shake us up in that snow globe effect in order for everything to be up in the air, everything to be questioned, everything to be analyzed, and watch the cards as they fall in order for us to realize what needs to be reorganized, what needs to be restructured, what needs to be put back in a better order.